Mac and you got the Mac and Mac show here on Bird Street Fit 65, but it's Mac and Mr. Carullo today, filling in for Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac was just on, so we're rounding up all our buddies today. That would include Marc Farzetta from the Farzy Show and the Eagles pregame show there on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. All right, Farzy, so did the Farzy Show. I asked you to join us. You got the pregame show tonight. When exactly is your nap today?
That's a great question. I don't think it's happening, Jody. My nap today is at about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's what I'll be looking forward to nap time.
Been there, done that. So, I know where you're coming from. All right, Farzy, the buildup has been 15 days worth, and we're all just dying for the game to get started so we can sink our teeth into Eagle football again. What's the biggest plus for the Eagles coming out of the bye? We know what some of the downsides are. Andy Reid, as good as he is against the bye, but getting healthy, self-scouting. What do you think the Eagles, when the game's over and done, what we're going to go? Yeah, that's an improve because of the downtime they had.
If I see Jalen Hurts have the same type of mobility, agility, and speed and aggression running the football, then I'll know he's damn near 100%. And as they always say, no one's 100% after your first game as a rookie. So as close to 100%. That's the biggest thing coming out of the bye week is getting healthy. It's his knee. It's not having that sleeve on his knee. It's Cam Jurgens being back at the right guard position. It's Bradley Roby being back at the nickel corner position. Getting healthy is absolutely by far the number one thing coming out of the bye. The second thing, and maybe this falls in line to the self-scouting, but it's what I'm looking forward to after the bye week, is Kevin Byard is underachieved to this point of his very brief Eagles career. I'm hoping time away. The bye week gave him time to just memorize his playbook, hopefully build some sort of chemistry with his teammates, coming back and being able to attack at full throttle as being opposed to being thrown into the mix after a recent trade to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more from Kevin Byard than an obviously the health is the biggest part of it.
And what matchup you looking forward to seeing tonight? Because there's a lot of good ones between the Eagles and the Chiefs on both sides of the football. What's Farzy looking forward to the most?
Bill, my friend, here's what I'm looking for. The Eagles have done what since Andy Reid left Philadelphia, since he was fired here over a decade ago? They have done what? They have continued to follow Andy Reid's footsteps of building the trenches up. And every single draft, Howie Roseman continues to talk about, there's no question about it. We start in the trenches here. We start in the line. We live and die by the line, that whole thing. So the matchup between an Andy Reid team and an Andy Reid philosophy team, which is basically just good football as far as I'm concerned, is going to be about the trenches. It's going to be about this Eagles offensive line holding up against a team that, and I know Steve Spagnuolo has a reputation for being a good, aggressive defensive coordinator. He ain't that aggressive, at least not in the way we like to see teams be aggressive. He depends on that front four to get that push. So this offensive line has to be up to that task. I mentioned Cam Jurgens already as far as just coming back. Hopefully that opens up things for the run game. Obviously, you hope that protects a guy like Jalen Hurts. But this offensive line is going to get one of the biggest tests, if not the biggest test to this point this season in taking on that Kansas City Chiefs defensive line. We all know about Chris Jones, how he can get after the quarterback, the push he has in the middle. We know about that from the Super Bowl. And then on the other side of things here, for the Eagles defensive line to go after that Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, Hassan Reddick turning it on ever since he has had that cast off his hand has been spectacular. Seeing a guy like Josh Sweat have the season that he's had. If you're the Eagles, and you are at all not using it as an excuse, not hanging your hat on it, but if you just believe that the football field affected you more in Super Bowl 57 than it affected the Kansas City Chiefs, here's an opportunity for Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick to show, well, we can still get after it. If we can get that edge coming off, if we can get that angle coming off the edge, we can bring Patrick Mahomes down, and we could have done it in the Super Bowl had it not been for the field. So I think it's going to be all about the trenches in this game.
Be careful tonight, Farzy. The Chiefs have a couple linebackers who have gotten sacks this year. Spagnuolo will throw you a curve every once in a while with how he is going to bring pressure. We know that Dallas Goedert's out of the lineup, and he is a key contributor, not the number one contributor, but a key contributor in their passing game. The amount of catches, the amount of targets that he gets are going to be split up. Who's going to get the most? Jack Stoll, we know he can block, and the quarterback kind of trusts him. He doesn't throw him a ton, but when he does throw it, he catches it. Julio Jones, that many more 4 wide receivers. Is this Alamade's breakout? The throws to Dallas Goedert are going to go elsewhere. Where would you say they go most, or you just throw it that much more to A.J. Brown? You throw it to him plenty enough, maybe more than any other wide receiver in the league. Just throw it to him a couple more times. How are the Dallas Goedert throws going to go?
I mean, I think it is going to be more heavily reliant on A.J. Brown. Of course, Steve Spagnuolo's that's going to be the first thing he's looking at, but he has just found a way to always be open, to quote him, always be open. And that's what he always is, open, no matter what the kind of coverage is. And the 50-50 balls are more like 90-10 balls when thrown at A.J. Brown. So that's definitely a possibility and probably the favorite there. The other idea is, I would love to see a guy like Julio Jones get more targets, especially if you're talking about red zone type of production there. Zacchaeus, I think they run certain plays for him, few and far between, but I think they run certain plays for him where Jalen Hurts has him as that number 1 guy. We saw it work in a negative way going into the bye week in that Dallas Cowboys game where they were backed up against their own goal line, and you saw a couple of odd plays. One was to A.J. Brown. One was to Olamide Zacchaeus on the 3rd and long. It just struck me as odd. But as far as the tight end position goes, I just don't think there's going to be a lot of targets to the tight ends, whether it's Big O or Big Al, however you like to refer to him as, whether it's Stoll. I think those guys are just going to be brought in to simply help in the run game, help in the pass block game, because, yes, every once in a while they do send their linebackers into the backfield, but for the majority of it, it is that front 4 push. I think it goes to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think you ride the 2 guys that you know can get open and give you consistent production on this offense. So when it comes to distributing the targets or the receptions, I think you're just going to see bigger games from A.J. Brown and a bigger game from Devontae Smith.
Looking at that Chiefs offense, Farzy, we know Andy Reid. We've had our complaints about him running the football in the past when he was here. No one's been able to run the football on this Eagles defense. Chiefs haven't ran the ball that well this season on offense, but they did run it well in Super Bowl 57. Do you expect the Chiefs to even try to establish the run tonight against this Eagles defense?
I think it's funny because we talked about this Andy Reid for 14 years here in Philadelphia. He's like, oh, wow, you have a red-hot Brian Westbrook. You're going to run the ball this game. No, you didn't run the ball. Yeah, and Isaiah Pacheco will be able to run the ball up and down the field on the Eagles, especially in the second half of that Super Bowl. So they're obviously going to go to him. Yeah, I don't think so. I would like to say that Andy Reid's going to do it. I just don't think he is going to do it. And yes, this Eagles defense has been fantastic at stopping the run. You mentioned the best in the NFL at doing it. Conversely, the Kansas City Chiefs are a very middle-of-the-road run defense team. So maybe you'll see the Eagles run the ball a little bit more in this game, especially with Cam Jurgens coming back. I don't think it's ever going to be something that Andy Reid is reliant on, regardless of success in the past, regardless of the conditions, whatever the conditions are in Kansas City tonight. I saw that there might be some rain in the forecast there. But I don't think that they are going to go into this game and say, oh, you know what? Pacheco's going to beat him today. We're going to make sure we're feeding Pacheco. That's not the way they're going to go about it. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to get involved in this. That whole Kansas City Chiefs offense, everyone's at their disposal, especially if you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes running around, scrambling behind the line of scrimmage, trying to buy time. So I don't think it's going to come down to the run game being a big factor for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Andy Reid has the perfect excuse built in. He's facing the best defense against it in the league.
Farzy, it's funny because I'm not afraid of Pacheco tonight. I like the kid. He's a tough player. Rutgers tough. I like Rutgers tough guys. You know who does scare me a little bit is Jerick McKinnon. The Eagles have not faced a lot of good running backs catching the ball out of the backfield this year. The schedule just hasn't handed that to them for us to be able to judge them on it. I think Breece Hall had about 5 catches for 50 yards in the lone Eagle loss this year. And McKinnon, although he hasn't been a big factor this year, in years gone by, he's been a really good guy catching the ball out of the backfield, specifically down by the red zone where he's been I think he had 9 touchdowns or something ridiculous like that last year. He's got 3 this year. Even though he doesn't get the ball much, he's got 3, which guess what would put him in second place for most touchdowns for the Chiefs because they spread the ball out to everybody. You got Kelce, you got Rice, and then you got McKinnon with 3 touchdowns. Eagles D'ing up a back coming out of the backfield. McKinnon gets the ball more than a couple times tonight. That give you any pause?
I think there's a big play in there. I definitely thought about that. McKinnon is a guy that can beat you on a big play like that. And the Eagles, especially if they're playing like we've seen them play so often with their defensive backs playing off the line of scrimmage 7 or 8 yards, that could be a problem, especially if you're setting up that screen and you get the offensive line out there in space, making room for them. And Andy Reid, as we also know here in Philly, not shy of running the screen game. So, yeah, that could be a big issue, especially if they disguise it well, especially if Mahomes waits long enough to suck in that defensive line and get them out of the line of sight. If you're talking about a mismatch, I like Sean Desai a lot, but one thing he has done pretty consistently is make sure those cornerbacks are playing off the line of scrimmage. That only gives the offensive line more time to get out there, and you do have a guy that can catch well. You have a guy that can run the ball well after the catch as well. Kansas City Chiefs are a great team in being able to get those yards after catching. They can go with McKinnon there as well. So that's one thing that I'm going to be looking at in this game, and I think that is a mismatch when it comes to Desai versus Andy Reid and the type of offense Desai is going to be seeing tonight.
Farzetta, you mentioned those corners playing off the line of scrimmage, and we have the luxury of watching the games every week with Seth Joyner, and that's something that drives him crazy is how far off the line these guys are. But it would make sense. You just look at the stats tonight, and it would make sense that this would be the game to get those corners up to the line. I told BGL from Bleeding Green, the Kansas City Chiefs are 29th in the league in yards before catch. They're only averaging 4.6 yards when Patrick Mahomes throws the ball in the air. They're throwing a lot of short passes. So is there any chance that this is the week we see Sean Desai say, you know what, get up in these receivers' faces. They don't have a lot of speed. They're not going to beat us deep. Let's get in their face. Let's play a little jam coverage here to try to give our guys a chance to get to Mahomes.
Similar to Andy Reid and the run game, it's just something that they're not comfortable doing. I would love to see it. I think it would be a good curveball. Like one thing that is odd to me is that Sean Desai is willing to take a guy in a matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and take a guy like James Bradbury and say, hey, get in the slot. We're going to need you in the slot. We're going to make that kind of drastic adjustment. But there have been other things that you haven't seen that adjustment. And that leads me more to believe that there is a well-defined blueprint by Nick Sirianni of what he likes his defense to look like. He doesn't meddle in it beyond the blueprint. Hey, look, here's the plot of land you could build the house on. Here's the blueprint, but go follow this as closely as possible. For whatever reason, allowing the big play is still the biggest fear they have. They talk about it from an offensive perspective about how that's what they strive for in games, those quote-unquote splash plays that they refer to. Defensively, they're terrified of them. So if they're going to have their corners playing off, they feel comfortable doing that, even if the stats, as you highlight there, Bill, dictate the opposite. This is how we're comfortable playing. We don't want to step out of our comfort zone in order to play it.
All right. Andy Reid's record after a bye, including postseason where you can get a first game off because...
Oh, is he good? Jody, is he good?
You tell me, 28-4. I think that's a pretty good record to have. However, Nick Sirianni, in his, compared to Andy Reid's somewhat short coaching career, is 3-0. So that means his winning percentage is 1,000. Andy Reid's is not. Now, Andy's got 25 more wins after a bye than Nick Sirianni does. But 3-0 is 3-0. Is there an advantage to be had out of the bye between these two teams?
I think the Eagles needed it more than the Chiefs. The Eagles needed to get healthy more than the Chiefs did. I wish I knew the answer to this. Look, it took Andy Reid, I believe, 9 or 10 years to lose his first game after a bye. I think that was the first like chink in the armor. 13. Was it 13? It was a 13? Okay.
It was 13 years regular season.
Okay.
Years regular season.
Okay. That's insane. So, hey, look, Nick Sirianni, he's already, Andy Reid, the pinnacle for him as an Eagles head coach was getting to a Super Bowl. And Nick Sirianni's already done that. And now Nick Sirianni is on the way to maybe 14 straight wins after the bye. So maybe history is on the Eagles side in this idea. But Andy Reid is still the same coach as far as pre-game preparation goes. He'll out-game plan anybody. I know people talk about the run game. They talk about the run-to-pass ratio. But ultimately, what did not make Andy Reid a successful head coach here in Philadelphia as he has been in Kansas City, it's not just Patrick Mahomes. It's getting better at clock management. It's getting better with second-half adjustments. And those are two things that we never really saw Andy improve upon in his time here in Philadelphia. In his next job there in Kansas City, looks like he's improved pretty well on that. It also helps, again, to have Patrick Mahomes. I'm not excluding that. But it's all about the game plan for Andy Reid. If the Eagles have him in the second half, they win this game. It's as simple as that. If they can get past the game plan, get past the scheme, get past the plan, and make him adjust his game plan, maybe with a little press coverage, maybe with doing things you normally don't see from Sean Desai, that's where you beat Andy Reid in the second half. They were able to just shut down the Eagles and not turn the football over, obviously, in the second half of the Super Bowl. And that's where they really made sure that they took advantage of every single mistake the Eagles made and lack of aggression from the Eagles in that second half of the Super Bowl. This would be an example for the Eagles to be able to maybe counterpunch Andy Reid's game plan. If they have him in the second half, they'll win this game.
And this probably means nothing, but I'm going to try to take a little solace in this omen. The last regular season game that Andy Reid lost after a bye was Week 11, November 19th, against an NFC East opponent. Tonight, Week 11, November 20th, against an NFC East opponent. Maybe it's an omen. Probably not.
Maybe.
Probably not.
But good knowledge there, Bill. What year are we talking about here?
You're talking, it was, I think, 6 seasons ago. November 19th, 2017, against the New York Giants. They lost in overtime 12-9.
Wow.
Okay, so you only had to go back only 6 years to find the last time. Okay.
Yeah, only 6 years.
I will say this, though. I think for a game like this tonight, all the history and including the stats, I think at a game like this tonight, which no player should admit this, no coach should admit this, this game is bigger than anything on the schedule. This game is bigger. And I don't believe in winning the Super Bowl tonight. And I love that that's been a mantra in the NovaCare complex for the last 2 weeks. You can't you can't get a ring on Monday night. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, the Eagles especially, because they were the losers in that game, unfortunately. But you can't beat the Chiefs twice in one night. You can't beat them a year ago tonight, and you can't beat them a year ago tonight when you're facing them for your own right to go 9-1 on the season and maintain your dominance, not just in the NFL, but obviously more specifically the NFC East and the NFC. So that, to me, is something that the Eagles have to push aside that history and just go out there, and this has to be played like the stage that it is. It's well-deserving of the stage that it has tonight, which is not just a revenge game or a rematch of the Super Bowl. Forget about that. Concentrate more on that. This could be a Super Bowl 58 preview. That's the bigger thing that the Eagles have to focus on tonight. It's another measuring stick game, and it's the best measuring stick game you could possibly have. The defending champs, that beat you, but you could face again for an opportunity to have a real revenge game, one that matters more than anything in Super Bowl 58.
All right, Farzy, I need you to give me a scale number. Nervousness scale number from 0 to 10. 0 being, I laugh at you, McDonald. How dare you say nervousness?
Okay.
10 being, excuse me, I've soiled myself. I must go clean up. 0 to 10, nervousness on Bradbury tonight. He was all pro level last year.
Yeah.
This year, he's been taken advantage of. Teams have just flat out beat him. Man-to-man coverage, getting beat by himself. No, they have no star wide receiver coming at them this year, and I doubt they're going back to dropping him down to the slot to cover Travis Kelce, although he speculated that when he was doing it during camp. Ooh, they're doing it for Week 9 when they got to play Travis Kelce. Here's how many plays are going to cover Travis Kelce tonight. None. But the fact that Bradbury has been beat this year, what's your nervousness level, 0 to 10?
I would say I'm at about a 7, and I'm nervous. I'm closer to the soiling myself part than I am the ha Jody McDonald. He's had a terrible year, and if I'm waving pom poms and I'm like, the bye week, he's reset the table. He's probably not healthy. Now he's back and he's fine. I got nothing on that. I have no reason to believe that all of a sudden there's going to be some turnaround. Here's what's upsetting. Last year, James Bradbury was pissed that the Giants let him go, and the Giants let him go to the Eagles. Now he's re-signed on a nice deal with the Eagles, and he got snubbed on the top 100 list as far as I'm concerned. He was a hell of a defensive back last year, as we all know. You can certainly argue in the second half of the season he was the best defensive back on this Eagles team.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly corner. So for me, I would love to say that he's going to find that edge again. He's going to find that type of motivation again. He's going to find that way to pull focus in the game. But when Patrick Mahomes is behind the line of scrimmage and he's scrambling around, one of the guys that I have the least amount of confidence in is James Bradbury staying with his man. And I never thought I'd say that after last year's performance, but that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
So closer to soiling myself, Jody.
Okay. We got it. You don't have to give us complete details, but
catch me at halftime.
Thank you for playing along. I appreciate it.
Catch me at halftime when I'm with Bill, and Bill, we'll let you know where I am at on that chart.
Yeah, I get there. It was a try and get a yuck question. Exact details we don't really need on the soiling themselves.
Farzy, you look at last year's team and compare it to this year's team. Both teams obviously 8-1, but last year's team had a plus 13 turnover differential through 9 games. This year they're a -2. It's amazing that they've been able to continue to win games with a negative turnover differential in this league. Who do you think wins the turnover battle tonight? Eagles or the Chiefs?
Just give you a Ray Didinger like pause right there. I wish I could say it's the Eagles, but the Eagles have not done that all year. And again, if I'm waving pom-poms, then I'm all about the second half of the season. They really turn it around with the turnovers. The biggest difference between the Eagles this year, the Eagles last year, and the Eagles that won the Super Bowl is turnovers. In 2017, you could hang your hat on a fourth quarter turnover. This year, you've been more inclined to hang your hat on a fourth quarter sack than you have a turnover. So the defense has made plays, but they haven't taken the ball away. And that's how the 2017 Eagles slammed the door on their opponents. There's a little momentum now for the Washington Commanders or the Washington football team. There's a little momentum now for the Giants. Turnover. The little momentum for the Carolina Panthers early in the season. Turnover. Like, that's the way they won football games in 2017. Last year, we saw it at a little bit higher rate, not as much in the fourth quarter, but a higher rate. That second half of the Super Bowl there against the Kansas City Chiefs, I was waiting for that moment where the Chiefs would cough up the football. They're not going to do it. I think the best thing that the Eagles can hope for with their pressure and keeping guys back in coverage while relying on your edge rushers and your interior defensive linemen to get in the backfield, I think the best thing the Eagles can hope for is continuing Patrick Mahomes on his record pace for the amount of times he's run and yards in a season he has gained on the ground. If they do that, I think they do a phenomenal job. Then they will do a phenomenal job of making sure he is not giving up those big splash plays. He's not throwing those haymakers at your defense. You could keep him to 5, 6, maybe even a 10-yard run. As long as he's not throwing the football down the field 25 yards, then you'll be good to go. But it's not going to be about the turnovers tonight because I just don't think the Eagles are going to get them. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. But if I'm playing it by ear, and what we have seen from this Chiefs team so far this season is if you continue to let Patrick Mahomes run the football, you're not going to be giving up those big plays, and that to the Eagles will be a win.
All right, Farzy, there are a couple undefeated streaks on the line tonight. We've touched on a few of them. Nick Sirianni, 3-0 after buys, undefeated. Andy Reid against Philadelphia Eagles since he left, 4-0, undefeated. Let's say those two cancel each other out. Chiefs undefeated with Taylor Swift in the house, and she's going to be there tonight. And oh, by the way, if you check the games, or at least she's supposed to be there tonight.
I don't think she's going to be there tonight.
Has that been made official?
She announced, now let me just preface this by saying, I hate that I know this. Okay. Taylor Swift postponed her concert from Saturday to Monday night in Rio de Janeiro because of extreme heat. Like a fan died.
Yeah, fan died. That's why I knew that there was the cancel has been rescheduled for tonight. I did not know that.
The concert was rescheduled for Monday night. So it does not appear she's going to be there.
Then
that's it. The Eagles are going to win. I'm changing my mind right here, right now. It's all over. We can wrap it up, Xander. We can put a bow on this show.
Yeah.
It's over and done with. If Taylor Swift's not in the house, the Eagles are winning tonight.
There you go. The Kansas City Chiefs, they have no chance without Taylor Swift. We have the only winning Swift on the field. Are you tired of that joke? I'm tired of that joke. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, so apparently she's not going to be there. I don't know if the Kelseys and the Swifts are going to be meeting in the luxury box sans Tay-Tay being there. I don't know. Yeah, she has her concert tonight. I know you got tickets to it, Jody, so I'm sorry. The concert has been rescheduled for tonight.
Flying to Rio as soon as the show is over. I'll be back for Birds 365 in the morning now. I got my own personal jet flying me back after the show.
Yeah, man.
So the Swifts have screwed. The parents are screwed. Did they get their tickets canceled? If Taylor's not going to be there, sorry, stay home.
I don't know. I think they just take the other private jet to the game. Come on, you don't have 2 private jets. I mean, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, Taylor's got 2. I only got 1. So
she's got a fleet. She's got a fleet. I'm telling you.
They're all doing okay. All right. So knowing that Taylor's not going to be in the house for it, we need to pick on the game. What way is this going tonight? Eagles Chiefs.
Shout out real quick to Kylie Kelsey. Just imagine this girl from our area was about to have a night with Taylor Swift out of nowhere. Like, how about that? I feel bad for her. My pick on the game is that the Eagles win this football game. I think at times it's going to be difficult to watch, but I feel the Eagles will win this game by a score of 28-24.
28-24. Farzi's on record for
Where you at, Bill?
I haven't given it yet, but it's
okay. He gets to wait till the last segment along with me. Okay. And now I got to rethink the whole stupid thing because I thought Taylor Swift was going to be at the game.
I did a video on my Instagram with Reid Didinger about how Taylor Swift sang the national anthem when she was 11 years old. It's the Sixers game, and that was all I've ever talked about. I am not a Taylor Swift Kelsey guy. You should have seen all the hate that came in my comments. Like, not you too, Bill, please, with this Taylor Swift talk, please. But I thought it was interesting that she sang the national anthem when she was 11 years old.
Yeah,
at the Sixers game.
Hey, here's an unpopular opinion. I'm happy for them. I am delighted for Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. They found puppy love. This is beautiful. Good for them. You know what? I like seeing the videos of them, being happy because, in a couple of years, it'll be like, did you eat my General Tso's? Did you eat my General Tso's? We all know how it goes. Come on, people. Be happy for them.
Yeah, you're just a hater, Farzetta. I can't. MF, always a pleasure, buddy. Thank you for hopping on. He will be part of the pregame show tonight. He'll be back with the Farzi show tomorrow. Marc Farzetta, go get a nap.
I'll try my best. Thanks, Jody. Bill, see you tonight, bud.
See you tonight, man.
Marc Farzetta here with us on Birds 365. All right. That's why we punch Farzi up. He's got inside Taylor Swift knowledge. I knew that there was a tragedy at her concert down in South America that a fan had passed away, dehydration. I guess they're crazy down here in Brazil when it's any kind of a massive outdoor event, be it a soccer game or a concert or whatever. And there was a tragic ending with the loss of life the other night. I did not know they had rescheduled it for tonight. And you know what? If that's the case, good on Taylor Swift. I know she likes Kelsey, and we got enough video of them sharing embraces, and he made it down to South America for one of her concerts. She's married to her craft, and that's being maybe the biggest star on the planet. Good for her if she's going to put the show on tonight rather than come running back for a Chiefs-Eagles football game.
NFL and ESPN won't be happy because, they wanted the ratings of whether she was going to be in the building or not.
And I guarantee you at least one shot of that, and they'll know exactly which suite they'll be in. They'll give you a shot at a suite with just, even if it's Mama Kelsey by herself, that she doesn't have the Swift family with her, there will be at least one shot of that if there is some change in plans and Taylor's there. You know what? I'll set the under over when we come back. Bill Colarulo's in for Johnny Mac. Jody Mac, we're going to come back, make our picks on the game and the under over of the suite that the Swifts are going to be in tonight. Bill Colarulo will give you the number. I give it FanDuel, DraftKings. Somebody's going to have a place where you can bet it. Ocean may have it on theirs. Somebody will have the under over. How many shots they'll go to of the suite tonight. The most important thing is how many points the Eagles going to score. Bill Colarulo will tell you when we come back here on Birds 365.